بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ومولاي يا رسول الله. صلى الله عليك وعلى أهل بيتك المظلومين. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ومولاي يا علي بن موسى الرضا الراضي بالقدر والقضاء. لعن الله الظالمين لكم من الأولين والآخرين وألحقهم بدرك الجحيم. 17th of Safar is the day of martyrdom of Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Ridha alayhi salam, the 8th Imam among Ahlul Bayt salamullahi alayhim. Each Imam has certain peculiarities in his life which is very important to know about it and discuss the important points in his life. Imam al-Ridha alayhi salam was born according to accepted view on the year 148, though some said 151 or 53. And the Imam of the time naturally was his father, Imam Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam. And he used to be called Al-Alim from the beginning, because Imam Musa ibn Ja'far, he gathered his sons and family and relatives and pointed out to his son Imam al-Ridha and said, he is the one who is Imam after me, and he is the Alim. And that Allah knows this specific title given to him. Well, all our Imams are ulama, but for everyone there is a special title. We say Imam al-Hasan al-Mujtaba, or Ali Zain al-Abidin, or Muhammad al-Baqir. You see, there is a title for every Imam. And Imam al-Ridha alayhi salam, though he is called Al-Ridha, Al-Ridha means was accepted, satisfied. And it is said because all the people accepted him as an Imam, his enemies and his friends. Well, another explanation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has accepted him, so he is Ridha lillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. However, one of his titles is Al-Alim, who is the knowledgeable, the scholar. And since his early age, when his father Imam Musa ibn Ja'far was in jails of Harun al-Rashid, Imam al-Ridha alayhi salam used to stay in the mosque of Medina, sit there, and the people come from every direction and ask him. The mosque was center of education, like university of today, not only place for a prayer. Well, time of a prayer is, let us say, midday, dhuhr, no, but from morning till dhuhr, and from dhuhr till asr and maghrib, the scholars come and study in the mosque. Well, even today in the Hawza Ilmiya, you find in Najaf, for example, there is Masjid al-Hindi or Masjid al-Tusi, where people are coming and studying there. It is the main center for education. And it is mentioned in the books of history that the scholars who sit and teach, if somebody asks them a difficult question, they say, okay, go and ask Imam al-Ridha, he's sitting there. So whoever has a difficult question will come and ask Imam al-Ridha alayhi salam about it. Well, Imam al-Ridha lived the difficulties faced by his father, Imam Musa ibn Ja'far, from Harun al-Rashid. Harun al-Rashid were jealous that Imam Musa ibn Ja'far were loved by people. People respect him. Actually, all Ahlul Bayt, salamullah alayhim, were respected by people. He could not tolerate that. And then asked Imam Musa ibn Ja'far to come. He was brought in jail to Basra, from Basra to Baghdad, and sent from one jail to another jail. And well, it is said during 15 years, Imam was jailed every now and then. Maybe the last 5 years was a continuous jail. So all that suffering were faced by Imam Al-Ridha alayhi salam. He knows what Harun Rashid is doing to his father, but naturally the tyrant dictators are ruling and he cannot say anything. Till the year 183, when Imam Musa ibn Ja'far was martyred and was buried in Baghdad, or in Kadhimiya of today. It is the suburb of Baghdad. And from that time, the imamate, that is the active imamate of Imam Ridha started, and his death or martyrdom was in the year 203. So from 183 to 203, about 20 years was his active time of imamate. From the beginning, Imam Ridha alayhi salam declared himself as the imam. Frankly, the people told him that don't say that, because if Harun al-Rashid hear that you are claiming to be the imam among Ahlul Bayt, he will not tolerate and he will kill you like he has killed his father. Imam Ridha said, I tell you, as my grandfather, the Holy Prophet, said to Abu Jahl, that if he took one hair of my body, I am not a prophet. And then he could not harm the Holy Prophet all his life. So Imam said, I tell you, if Harun al-Rashid harm me even to take one hair of my head, then I am not Imam. I am safe from his side. Well, he said, I know it is written to me from the Holy Prophet that this will be my situation. That is why he was saying it frankly in Medina. Well, some of the bad ministers around Harun Rashid told him that you killed Musa ibn Ja'far, and now his son is claiming the same, claiming to be the Imam. When he claims he is the Imam, means you are not Caliph of the Muslims, so he deny you your position. He said, well, what do you want? Should I kill all Bani Hashim? And that shows that Harun Rashid in his heart was blaming himself why he killed Imam Musa ibn Ja'far. He did nothing wrong to him. He tried many times to get any point that he is collecting armaments or money or having an army, or so nothing was there. But only jealousy, that why people like Musa ibn Ja'far and do not like him. Why hearts of the people are with Imam Musa ibn Ja'far, though apparently Harun al-Rashid is the ruler of the Muslim country. However, Imam Ridha alayhi salam stayed in Medina. The first problem he had with the group of people later on were called Al-Waqifa. Waqifa means those who stand. It means stand, or stopped. They were trusted by Imam Musa ibn Ja'far to collect khums from people. And some of them have 30,000 dinar, some of them have 70,000 dinar, some have 10,000 dinar. And when Imam Al-Ridha alayhi salam told them that his father Musa ibn Ja'far died and now he is the Imam, they should give him whatever money in their hand, they denied it and they said, no, Musa ibn Ja'far did not die. He is the Imam al-Mahdi and he will come later on, and then this money belongs to him. He is not dead. So they denied imamate of Imam al-Ridha and they said, no, your father is still alive and he is not dead. Well, Imam has argued with them that he is dead and everybody knows, and even his money were given to inheritors, divided. So what are you saying? They said, no, we cannot accept it. One of them had an argument, told them that we know when an Imam dies, his son, who is the Imam, will take care of his burial. Now they told him that you were in Medina and your father were in Baghdad. So who took care of burying the Imam Musa ibn Ja'far if you are the Imam? You were far. He asked them, that Imam Hussain alayhi salam, who is the Imam after him? They said Zayn al-Abidin. Said Imam Zayn al-Abidin was in Kufa. So who buried Imam Hussain in Karbala? So Allah, who allowed Imam Zayn al-Abidin to come to Karbala and bury his father, He allowed me to move from Medina and go to Baghdad and bury my father, though the people were not realizing it. No, anyhow, that is miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is mentioned similarly about Salman al-Farisi, radwanullahi ta'ala alayh. Salman was the ruler of Madain. Madain is suburb of Baghdad today. And he died in Madain. And it is mentioned, unanimously accepted by all Muslims, that Imam Ali alayhi salam was the one who buried Salman al-Farisi. Imam Ali was in Medina. Salman was in Baghdad, in Iraq, The distance, more than 1,000, maybe 2,000 kilometers. And everyone said in the books of history that the one who took care of Salman were Imam Ali alayhi salam. However, that is by will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Salman was believed to be among the awsiya, the vicegerents of the prophets, and he has to be buried by a vicegerent, not by ordinary people. That is why Imam Ali alayhi salam came from Medina to bury him. So Imam Al-Ridha alayhi salam told them, still they denied that and refused to give him the money. However, till now that name is there, called Al-Waqifa. They believed up to 7 Imams, Imam Musa ibn Ja'far, but do not believe in Imamate of Imam Al-Ridha. Of course, their view and their sect is not existing anymore, but in books of history, that story is mentioned. Imam Al-Ridha alayhi salam faced the political turmoil of the Abbasids, because Harun al-Rashid, before his death, he divided the Muslim country among his children. He said, Al-Amin is the one who will be the caliphate, and he is in charge of Baghdad and Syria, Egypt, all the area to the west. And Al-Ma'mun is in charge of Iran and beyond Iran. Beyond Iran means like Afghanistan of today and Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan and all that area. And he had a third son. They said if Al-Amin dies, after him Al-Ma'mun, then that third son, Al-Qasim, he is the one in charge. Well, after his death, Al-Amin tried to appoint his son to be the crown prince, as it's called. Then Al-Ma'mun was angry, and a war started between them. Well, the war, at the beginning, the army of Al-Ma'mun were defeated. Ultimately, that he gathered a big army and he attacked Baghdad and killed his brother and, killed all the opponents or the opposition against him. And he became the main governor or caliph of the Muslim world, only one, not divided. There, the problems which happens against him were not only the Abbasids, who, like Al-Amin, were against him, at least by heart, but many rulers or many revolutionary people among Bani Hashim, descendants of Imam Hassan alayhi salam mainly, they took a stand against the Abbasids. They found now they are weak, and why not they return their right to Ahlul Bayt salamullah alayhim. So one of them is Muhammad ibn Ibrahim. In Basra, he had a leader called Abu Saraya, and he took great stand and killed the Abbasids, who has done a lot of injustice to Ahlul Bayt before, and took over the area of Basra. Another one was in Medina, a third one in Yemen, and in different areas, different people took a stand. Now Al-Ma'mun find that he cannot deal with all that, and he has to make a trick in order to control the situation. And his trick was that to call Imam Al-Ridha alayhi salam and appoint him as caliph apparently, but then gradually when things are settled, he can kill him because he is under control. Imam Al-Ridha is in Medina. In Khurasan, there is nobody there. So if you bring him there, naturally he will be under control of Al-Ma'mun. And at the same time, when Imam Al-Ridha is the caliph, or at least the crown prince, then the rest of Sayyids among Ahlul Bayt will not take any revolution because they said, well, Imam Al-Ridha is the one, so who are we comparing to Imam Al-Ridha alayhi salam? Imam Al-Ridha knew the trick of Al-Ma'mun, that he is not sincere and not serious. So when Ma'mun sent a messenger and told him, bring Ali ibn Musa Ridha here, he wrote him a letter that I want to appoint you as the caliph. Welcome to Khurasan. Well, if he was really sincere, he should not force him to come to Khurasan. He said, well, you are the caliph, you want us to come to Medina or choose any capital and we will follow you. Now, if he is the one to be caliph, then he has to decide where to live. You cannot force him where to live. Imam Al-Ridha knew, and then they told him that you have to go. That is why he came and he visited the grave of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he knew that he will go and will not return back to Medina. I mean, he will be martyred in that traveling, though after maybe 2-3 years. Well, this situation is mentioned in history, and some of the historians, they try to criticize Imam Al-Ridha or the Imams, that Imams did not have a political power, and when they got the power, they failed. You see, Imam Al-Ridha, Ma'mun gave him the power, and he were not successful, and ultimately he died. Actually, Imam Al-Ridha, as he said, he knew that Ma'mun was not sincere in his heart, and that is a trick to control others. And the reason for that, first, he took the Imam from Medina by force. Secondly, he told the delegate from his side, don't bring Imam Al-Ridha from side of Baghdad and Maru and Qom to Khurasan. Why? Because number of Shias in Baghdad were big. So if the Shias will see the Imam, maybe thousands of them will join the Imam. And when thousands of them will come to Khurasan, naturally Imam will be protected with his Shias. Same thing in Ray. Ray is south of Tehran of today. And Qom is also near to Tehran. There were many Shias there. So that road, he said, don't go in that road. You go to Basra, and from Basra go to Ahwaz, south of Iran, from there to Shiraz of today, and then cross the desert to Khurasan without passing through Tehran of today, or Ray, which used to be called at that time. And that is what happened, and they took the Imam, and that was the road. Well, it is mentioned here when Imam reached the city of Nayshabur. Nayshabur is, well, not very far from Mashhad. Then there were thousands of scholars there, and they came to welcome the Imam. They hear that Imam Al-Ridha is there, and they heard about his great knowledge, and they wished to be in Medina to be benefited from his knowledge. Now Imam is passing through their city. So all of them were gathered, and all the people came to welcome the Imam. And Imam was on a camel, and covered because sunlight is there naturally, and it took the trip maybe more than a month, from Medina to reach Khurasan. At that time, it may take more than 1 month time. So naturally, he can't be under direct sunlight. So they asked the Imam that, let us see you and let us hear hadith from you so we can register it. Then Imam Al-Ridha Salamullah alayh removed the curtain, and then he told them the hadith which is called the golden chain hadith. Golden chain because the chain of narrators are all imams till the Prophet. He said, حدثني, my father Musa al-Kadhim told me that his father Ja'far al-Sadiq told him that his father Muhammad al-Baqir told him that his father Ali ibn al-Hussein Zain al-Abidin told him, and he said that my father al-Hussein ibn Ali told me that I hear my father Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam told me that I heard my beloved the Holy Prophet said that I was told by Jibreel. Jibreel said, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the exalted, the high, said, Kalimatu la ilaha illallah husni, the saying or the word or the sentence that there is no God but Allah is my protection. فَمَنْ قَالَهَا دَخَلَ حِصْنِي وَمَنْ دَخَلَ حِصْنِي أَمِنَ مِنْ عَذَابِي. Anybody who says that, he believes in that, he said that there is no God but Allah, do not relate anyone else to Allah, then he entered my protection, my citadel or protection, and whoever enters in my protection, he will not be punished in any way. I mean, will not go to hellfire. So they wrote that hadith, and because of these blessed chain of narrators, that is why called hadith silsilatul dhahab, the golden chain. Well, it is mentioned in history that 20,000 persons wrote that hadith from Imam Al-Ridha alayhi salam. Then Imam Al-Ridha alayhi salam put the curtain back. They asked him, Zidna ibn Rasulullah, tell us little more. That is small hadith, tell us more. Then Imam alayhi salam opened the curtain again and told them, بشرطها وشروطها وأنا من شروطها. This is by its conditions, and I am one of the conditions. Condition mean what? Means when you say La ilaha illallah, means you have to say Muhammadur Rasulullah, isn't it? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala appointed the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam as the last messenger for mankind. And when you say Muhammadur Rasulullah, you have to say Aliyun Waliullah, because the Holy Prophet appointed Imam Ali and then Imam Hassan, Imam Hussain, and the rest of the Imams as an Imam for the mankind, for the Muslims. And he said, I, Ali ibn Musa Ridha, I am one of conditions of the sentence of Tawheed. So we say Imamate is actually returned back to Nubuwwat. Nubuwwat goes back to Tawheed. That is why we say the center of Islam is Tawheed, oneness of God, and all that is another meanings of Tawheed. So that was written about the Imam Ridha alayhi salam in Nishabur, and Imam continued till he reached Khurasan. Well, in Khurasan, Ma'mun asked the Imam that I want to take over the government from my shoulder and give it to you. You will be the caliph. Imam knew that he is hypocrite, he will not do it. He said, no, I will not agree. He said, why? He said, if the caliphate is a dress given to you by Allah, then you are not allowed to give something given to you by Allah to another people. So you claim to be the caliph of the Muslims, and the caliph means appointed by Allah to be the ruler of the Muslim country. So if that is the case, if you, as you claim in front of people, you are representing Allah on earth, then how can you give that representation to others? Well, he found that this trick is not useful. He came back again and he said, no, I love you, I like you. Imam said, no, I will not agree. till Al-Ma'mun threatened Imam Al-Ridha. He told him, every time I ask you, you refuse. Either you will accept it, or ultimately I have to kill you. So that threat was very clear. Imam, of course, refused to be the caliph. He said, okay, you be the Waliul Ahd, or the crown prince. And then Imam accepted that, and he put a condition that I will not interfere in the affairs of your government, will not appoint anyone, and will not remove anyone, and will not participate in any shape of participation in your government. Well, Ma'mun, because had no other choice, he accepted that. Naturally, Imam not participating means not all what you do is wrong. If I interfere, naturally, you will not be happy, you will be angry, and ultimately you counted on if I do not interfere. They said, okay, all those rulers and all those killing and all those people put in jail and all the bloodshed which was done by Ma'mun is legalized because Imam Al-Ridha agrees with that. So Imam Al-Ridha, in advance, he told them that no, I will not interfere in any way in your government. And then Imam was there in Khurasan. It happened the day of Eid started, and in Eid we know that there is the congregational prayer of Eid is there, and because Imam Al-Ridha is now the crown prince, Ma'mun asked Imam Al-Ridha that you lead the prayer. Imam knew that he is not serious and he will be jealous if Imam will lead the prayer. He said, no, whoever used to lead the prayer before, the scholar, the judge, whoever used to lead, let him lead the prayer. Ma'mun said, no, you have to lead the prayer. Imam said, if I lead the prayer, I will pray the same way that my grandfather, the Holy Prophet, used to pray, not in your way. Ma'mun said, okay, you pray in the way you like. And then, you see, the prayer is actually humiliation in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have to pray to Allah and look very humble toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the kings, they took the prayer as a pride. That I am the king, I am the ruler, and the qadi is there, and then he is lead the prayer, all people follow him, accept him, and he is proud of himself, and they come and shake hand as if they are shaking hand of bay'at to him. So naturally, that is the prayer of the dictators, not the prayer of religious people who has to be humble in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Imam said, I will not pray in that way. Ma'mun said, okay, you pray the way you like. Then the next day in the morning, the day of Eid, all the leaders of the army, the great people, all came around the house of the Imam waiting for him to come out so they will lead him to the mosque and be with him. Naturally, all the army staff are very proud, sitting on horses and with their dress and ready as usual. You know, they have to be in that dress and in that position. Imam Salamullahi alayh asked all his servants and the people around him. He said, you do the way I do. And then he took his sleeves up. When they take it up, it is a sign of being humble. See, when the sleeves are upright, then you feel proud, you know. When the sleeves are up, means you are ready, feel humble. And when your long dress is shorter, again, you feel more humble and humiliation toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Imam was in that shape, and he did not wear shoes. He came barefooted. And he started with takbir, Allahu Akbar. Then all his servants around him, they said Allahu Akbar. Now the sound was heard in the street. In the street, the army staff all and the people around, when they heard Imam said Allahu Akbar, they said Allahu Akbar. Then all Khurasan started with takbir, Allahu Akbar. And then when Imam came out in that situation, naturally he is the crown prince. If he is in that, now the leaders of the army cannot be with shoes and with dress. So they came down from the horses and took their shoes out and again took the sleeves up and walked with the Imam barefooted. And with that position of takbir, every moment, every step they move, they say Allahu Akbar kabira walhamdulillah kathira, the prayer which is usually recited at the day of Eid. And all Khurasan, started with that takbir. Now they send message to Ma'mun that if Imam Al-Ridha in this situation reach to the mosque, the people will love him so much that ultimately they will make revolution against you. So you do something to prevent him not to reach the mosque. Then Mahmud sent a messenger to Imam Al-Ridha and told him, Ya ibn Rasulullah, it was very much difficult for you and we made you tired. Please go back to your home and whoever used to pray, let him pray for. When Imam heard the message, then he returned his sleeve back and asked for his shoes to be brought, and he was riding whatever animal, with a horse or thing, and then he returned back home to tell them that you do not want us to pray the real prayer of the Prophet. You want the prayer to serve the benefit of the rulers and dictators of the time, misuse religion for their own benefit. And that also an indication that Ma'mun was not serious to appoint Imam Al-Ridha as his crown prince or even to ask him to be the caliph instead of him. Well, Ma'mun was educated scholar and he knew the great position of Ahlul Bayt, the Imams. They asked him from where you learned what is called Shi'ism, because they used to say Ma'mun is a Shia because he respected and appreciated the high position of the Imams. He said, I learned Shi'ism from my father Harun al-Rashid. They told him, how? Your father is the one who killed Imam Musa ibn Ja'far and then killed the Sayyids, great number of them. So how you learn? He said, one day I was sitting with my father and a man came and I found my father, who is the caliph, and he controlled half the world at the time, all are under his control. He stood up and walked and then respected that man very much and was sitting very humble like a servant in front of his boss and telling him that Fidaka Abi, may my father be ransomed for you, so nice and kindly. And then when he wanted to leave, he asked me and my brother Amin and Ma'mun to farewell him till we reach his house. Now, they are the sons of the caliph, so how come they serve someone who looks a stranger? And they tell him, okay, you walk. He's riding the mare or the horse, whatever, and then the two sons of the caliph are walking with him till he reached his house. So Ma'mun said, I had the gut to talk to my father because, well, my brothers did not have that gut. I came and told my father, aren't you the caliph? He said, yes. He said, who is this man? You are talking to him in a way like a servant in front of him. Who is the man? You are the top man of the country, naturally. You are the caliph. He said, my father told me, oh my son, if the caliphate really to be in its right position, this man should be the caliph because he is from Ahlul Bayt and he deserves that. So he said, I told him, aren't you the caliph? He said, I am caliph apparently, but the real caliph is this man. Then Ma'mun said, I told my father, if you know that he is the real caliph, then why you are taking the power in your hand? At least give him the power and let him be the caliph, the active one who rule. Then he said, my father looked to me angrily And he said, Al-Mulku Aqim, the kingdom cannot accept another one. And now I am controlling the kingdom. If you, my son, try to take it from me, then I will kill you. Even be my son, still I will kill you and I will not mind. So he said, I realized it is the matter of kingdom and love for power, not that really he is the caliph of the Muslims. The real caliph is Imam Musa ibn Ja'far salamullah alayhi. So he knew the position of Imam Al-Ridha alayhi salam. But still, Imam Al-Ridha was there, and actually the people ask him questions, and they know. So Ma'mun made a conference, let us say scientific conference. He asked all the scholars from different parts of the world, from India, from Pakistan, from Roman countries, from Iraq, Iran, all that countries on different specialties, because some of them specialized in, let us say, religious views, some of them in aqa'id, some of them in tafsir of Quran, some of them were in medicine, some of them about astrology, and different specialties at that time, whatever knowledges. So he made a huge conference, and his aim was that probably one of them asked Imam Al-Ridha a question, and Imam Al-Ridha will not be able to answer. So he will tell the people, no, these Imams are not really as they claim. They are Imam appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and their knowledge is from Allah is unlimited. No, you see, he was asked a question by someone, by a doctor, by a scientist, a scholar, and he did not reply. He didn't have the answer. And when the people were there in that conference, he sent a message by one. He said, go and tell Imam Al-Ridha that would you please come, because now we have a conference and you come and join us. Imam Al-Ridha asked that messenger was from Iraq, and he used to love Imam Al-Ridha. He said, what do you think? He made this conference for what? Well, that gentleman, probably his faith was weak. He said, Ibn Rasulullah, I am afraid that if you go there, now they will ask you difficult questions and you cannot reply, because these people are from different countries, from India, China, Pakistan, etc. Different countries, and many languages. You don't know those languages, you don't know questions, some philosophers, So I say better you should not go there. Imam smiled and said, you are afraid that they will ask me a question I cannot reply? I said, yes. He said, do you know when Ma'mun will repent? He feels sorry for the plan, for the trick he did. He said, when? He said, when I go there and I reply all of them, and then they will realize that I am the Imam, my knowledge is more than that. Then he will know that his plan is not useful, and then all the people now appreciated my knowledge and my imamate more than before, because they already have seen the Imam. Well, then Imam came to that conference, and probably the conference was not one day, because the distances from different countries were sometimes 1 month, 1.5 months they use to move to come to the capital. So it is not only one day conference, probably took 10, 15, 20 days. That is why on different occasions, different questions used to be mentioned. And one of them, Al-Marwazi, were well known is very strong in arguments. And he was the best one, called Mutakallim of Khurasan, in arguments about Usul al-Din. So Ma'mun told him that my cousin is here and I want you to ask him a question that he cannot reply. Well, he thought that it is not good if he's your cousin of the caliph, then I should not embarrass him. He said, no, how can I embarrass your cousin? I should not ask him a question he will not reply, because I have to be polite with him. He's your cousin. Ma'mun said, no, that is actually my aim. I want you to ask him a question so that he will not reply, and then people will know that he is ordinary man, not an imam as he claims. And then he came, and while a lot of discussions were there, his view about Tawheed were not very clear. And Imam Salamullahi alayh discussed that very well, very nicely, and he used to ask him point by point. Well, sometimes he get confused. Imam tell him, well, now you are changing. You claim this, and then now you change to that. You don't know what you are talking. And even people start laughing that what you are talking. Then Imam said, okay, still ask the people, be gentle with this man. He's a scholar. Be gentle with him. But now, whatever he asks, Imam reply him unexpectedly, and he don't know how to continue his argument. Till at the end, he believed with imamate of Imam Al-Ridha alayhi salam. Well, many like that. Even a doctor was there from India, and Imam told him, asked him many questions. That, do you know why the forehead has no hair? Do you know why the eyebrow is above? Do you know why the nose is at the middle? Why the eye is fatty and the tears are sour in taste? And so on, the questions. Why the nose, the opening of the nose is below, not up? And so on. He asked him so many questions, and he said, well, I don't know. Till Imam started telling him the answer, that the forehead is without hair. If hair will be there, it will be cover for the eye. And the eyebrow is above to prevent sweat to come to the eye. And the tears are saltish because the eye is made of fat and needs saltish media. And well, the nose is opened from below because whatever discharge comes, it will come out. If it was up, then it will be gathered. And so on. Imam started telling him the reasons of creation, and he told him that, do you think I got my knowledge from books that you are studying? I got my knowledge from my forefathers, and that is a knowledge gifted to me by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There it is mentioned that Ma'mun also, and other, asked Imam Al-Ridha alayhi salam about infallibility of the prophets. It looks this doubt, not only nowadays, some scholars doubt about infallibility of the prophets. Even in those days, that argument was there. Of course, followers of Ahlul Bayt, they believe that, but other schools of Muslims probably are not very clear about it. So they asked him, Ibn Rasulullah, what do you say about the ayah of the Holy Quran? وَعَصَى آدَمْ رَبُّهُ فَغَوَى. Adam disobeyed. وَعَصَى آدَمُ رَبَّهُ فَغَوَى. Adam disobeyed his Lord and he was misguided. So how do you say he's infallible? Imam replied, well, it was before prophethood of Adam, when he was in paradise. And Adam did not disobey as you think. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, do not eat from this tree. And do not eat from other trees similar to it. So Adam did not eat from that tree. He saw another tree in the garden, and he did not want to eat from that because it was similar. And then Iblis, Shaitan, Satan was there, and he swore by Allah that Allah did not tell you do not eat similar trees. Eat only from that, you are banned. So when he ate from that, naturally he had the problem, what is called the mistake, that he has to come down to earth. So actually he did not disobey by eating from the same tree. He did not know, and he took from another tree. Then Imam said, the Holy Quran said, ثُمَّ اجْتَبَاهُ. Allah later on has chosen Adam. He said when Adam was chosen, he was infallible on earth. I mean, that mistake, it is not sin, but that mistake, whatever is the consequences of it, that he has to leave the garden and come to earth, but it was not a sin as disobedience to Allah, because Allah told him, do not eat from this tree. Did not tell him, do not eat from similar trees to that. And said that is forgiven for the prophets before prophethood. And then he asked him about Yusuf alayhi salam. فهمت به وهم بها لولا أن رأى برهان ربه. She tried him, or he tried. So now tried means what? Naturally, the apparent meaning, she tried to have pleasure and sex with him, and he tried also, but ultimately he saw the proof of his Lord, and then he did not do. So he said, it looks that Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam tried to do the mistake, but then ultimately stopped halfway. Imam said, no, that is not the answer, the meaning. She tried to have the sin with him, and he tried to beat her. Not to do that, to prevent that. And the Holy Quran also said, after Allah guided him that if he beat her, then she can claim later on that he found me alone in the room and he asked me for the wrong things, and when I refused, he was beating me. So how come he said that I am innocent? So Allah inspired him that لولا أن رأى برهان ربه, that the burhan, the proof of Allah, that he should not beat her, but he should run away. And he ran away because at the end he said لنكشف عنه السوء والفحشاء, in order to prevent him from trouble, su, and fahsha, the mischief. Of course, mischief, he was, what is the trouble? The trouble here was if he used to beat her, and then suddenly her husband has come unexpectedly, he will see Yusuf beating his wife, and he told him what? Ask his wife will claim that, okay, Yusuf find me alone, and I refuse to obey him, that is why he is beating me. So Allah guided him and inspired him to run away. When he ran away near the door, as we know the story, they found husband of that wife is there, and he found Yusuf is running away. However, Imam explained that Hammat, she tried and he tried, that the trial was not the same. She tried the mistake, but he tried to not to do that, and then ultimately Allah inspired him and protected him. Then they asked him about the noon. وَذَنُّونِ إِذْ ذَهَبَ مُغَاضِبًا فَظَنَّ أَن لَّن نَّقْدِرَ عَلَيْهِ. The noon was angry, he was a prophet, and he left his people, he called his people to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They refused repeatedly for months, years. Ultimately, the punishment of Allah was coming when he left the people. That is why the punishment should come. So مغاضبا means angrily. So here the word ظن, he thought, and then نقدر from power. I mean, if you take the apparent meaning, say the noon thought that we means Allah has no power upon him. So you say, how come that? You say he is infallible, and you think Allah has no control over him. So how come a prophet believe that? Imam said, no, you are mistaking in the meaning. نقدر, not قدرة from power. نقدر from restricting his rizq. Because the Holy Quran elsewhere, إذا ما قدر عليه رزقه, if Allah restricted the livelihood to people. So here نقدر عليه, he said if Yunus would think that Allah has no control over him, then he become kafir, become not a Muslim. How come a believer had that belief that Allah cannot do anything to him? Naturally, Allah is almighty and all the power is in hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here, naqdira, not from power, but from restricting his rizq. He is a prophet and he left his village. Naturally, when he go to desert or to other villages, he is alone. But he had complete faith that Allah will not leave him alone. Allah will send him his livelihood. So you see, the wrong meanings are there, and that is why the people sometimes relate to the prophets something which is not correct. However, a lot of other details were there which is mentioned in the books about the answer given by Imam Ridha alayhi salam. Maybe one of the main roles of Imam Ridha alayhi salam is to deepen the facts of Aqidah, the principles of faith believed by Ahlul Bayt salamullah alayhim. At the time of Imam al-Baqir and Imam al-Sadiq salamullah alayhima, they have spread the fiqh and other beliefs, but Imam Ridha make it deeper and stronger and more clear. People understand the principle of faith in a better way, because the standard of people naturally now is higher and their arguments are stronger, but then they get confused, and Imam al-Ridha alayhi salam were telling them the true answer so they had a better picture. Well, by passing the time, then Imam Ridha alayhi salam were feeling lonely because Ma'mun were restricting his movement and contacts of the people, and ultimately Ma'mun could not tolerate that Imam will remain alive, so he asked one of his servants to allow his nails to be longer, and then he put poison below the nails and asked him the pomegranate, the rumman, to squeeze it to get its juice by hand so that the poison will be in that juice, and brought that juice to Imam Ridha, a poison juice. Well, Imam Ridha, when he took that, he got sick and he came alone. He's living in his house alone. Abu Basir was the only servant with him. Imam told him, "Oh Abu Basir, close the door and do not allow anyone to enter into my house." Abu Basir said, "Well, I closed the door. Imam was suffering of pain and it was time of his death. He's alone. And I was outside the door waiting if Imam called me for anything. Suddenly I saw a young boy in the middle of the house. I asked him, 'Who are you and how could you enter the house when all the doors are locked?' He said, 'Abu Basir, the one means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who brought me from Medina to here to Khurasan, he allowed me to enter the house even if the doors are closed.' And that was literally Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam. And then Imam al-Jawad came beside his father and took care of the burial of Imam al-Ridha. Well, after death of Imam al-Ridha, Ma'mun, in order to tell the people that not to blame him, he was crying and beating his head. And he said, "Now the people will abuse me and accuse me that I am the one who killed you. But now you see, I am crying, I am weeping for the tragedy." Of course, all that was to show things. But then Imam was lonely there. That is why he's called Gharibul Ghuraba. He lived in lonely as a stranger in a country where no one of his relatives around him. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. اللهم إنا نسألك وندعوك بحق الإمام الرضا عليه السلام وبمحمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين أن تعجل فرج وليك صاحب العصر والزمان، وأن تجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه ومن المجاهدين بين يديه. اللهم اقض بهم حوائجنا واشف بهم مرضانا وارحم بهم موتانا ويسر بهم مطالبنا، واحشرنا معهم يوم القيامة في أعلى عليين مع الشهداء والصالحين وحسن أولئك رفيقا. وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات رحم الله من يقرأ الفاتحة قبلها صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد.